Wonderhussy here, out in the middle of nowhere with my friend Larry. He's got his own YouTube channel, Eminence Front X5. Check it out. Anyway, he's taking me out here to this really desolate part of the desert, kind of south of Death Valley, that has personal significance to him because, well, he's got a really interesting life story. He had a really, well, good, high-powered marketing job and a nice life in the San Francisco Bay Area, but he gave it all up to go live in his car in Death Valley. That's why his YouTube channel is called Eminence Front X5. He got a BMW X5 and he outfitted it to live in. Sold everything he had back in the Bay Area. I mean, he had race cars, everything. Sold it all, drove out to Death Valley. And, well, he was trying to face his fears. He was always afraid of the desert, so he drove right into the heart of the very harshest desert. And I'm happy to say, you know, it's almost been 2 years now, a year and a half on, he's still here. He conquered his fears. He lived in his car in Death Valley for an entire year successfully, and that's hard to do, especially when you consider it gets up to like 130 degrees in Death Valley in the summer. Anyway, Larry brought me out here to this part of the desert where he first camped out when he first left his home in the Bay Area. He drove down to Baker, California, and he finally got too tired to go on, so he pulled off and he ended up, long story, he can tell it better than I can, but he ended up camping on a dry lake bed back here and exploring the area all around his camp. And he found some really neat stuff out in this part of the desert. So he's taking me around to show me some of it. And right now, we're at this weird kind of, well, it looks like an abandoned, really old mining camp. There's some pretty interesting stuff left behind. Okay, so the first kind of interesting thing I noticed coming up this wash is, well, there's an old stove shot up full of bullet holes over there, which isn't that uncommon. You see that kind of stuff in the desert a lot. And there's a pile of old collapsed timbers up the wash a bit, but then set into the embankment on this side of the wash is something very interesting. Unfortunately, the sun is right behind it right now, so it's like the worst time of day to be here to look at this. But it's a refrigerator. Anyways, hopefully you guys can see there's this refrigerator set right into the bank of this wash, like buried in here. Now, I don't know if they buried it in here to keep the contents of the fridge cool. And if that's the case, was it even connected to gas or anything? Let's open it up and see. Kind of weird. Wow, I mean, it's an actual refrigerator. It's not a nice box. I can't imagine that it was hooked up to a gas line. So maybe they just lugged it out here, and knowing that they didn't have gas, figured they would bury it in the side of the wash as at least some insulation. Those crazy miners. So I think Larry's theory is that this was some kind of outdoor kitchen. I'm not sure I buy into that, though. I think this stove is just here because it fell from somewhere else and then was used for target practice. And then the fridge being buried in the side, well, I don't know about that. That might be its original location. Well, maybe there was an outdoor kitchen here, but why would you make an outdoor kitchen? It just doesn't make sense to me. But let's see what else we can see at this mine site. Looks like there's some bed springs down there, some more old timbers. But back here, in the side of the, well, mountain, I guess you would call this, like a little range of hills here. There's also a stove or oven of some sort that was, now, this looks like people have had campfires here recently, but it also, I mean, why else would you have this oven here? You know, maybe there was an outdoor kitchen here. Wow, that's interesting. Go ahead and bake your wood-fired pizza in there. And then behind it, a mine adit. Whoa. I don't think it goes back very far, but we can poke our noses in. I don't know what they were mining up here. Oh yeah, this doesn't go back very far at all. Huh, well I was gonna say I don't know what they were mining back here, but maybe they just dug this hole because it's, oh gosh, it's gotta be at least 5 degrees, 10 degrees cooler in here. Feels a lot better in here. Maybe they just dug this out to be their man cave. Just kidding. I'm sure they were gouging into the earth for something valuable back here. I don't know what it was, though. Could have been gold, could have been silver, could have been tungsten, lead, any number of things. All right, let's go back out and ask Larry if there's anything else interesting we should see at this site. Oh, God, what a beautiful day. It's October 8th. Perfect time of year to be exploring Death Valley. It's not blisteringly hot, although it is hot. In fact, it's so hot my camera keeps overheating. My cell phone. I have to keep turning my phone off and putting it in front of the air conditioning vent in my car. Whew, that's hot. Imagine what it's like here in August. Well, Larry could tell you. Like I said, he lived in Death Valley for an entire year. He's got some pretty interesting stories. All right, Larry, is there anything else at this site I should see?
Yes, actually. Right over this little lump here, this hill, there's remains of what I'm calling like a ghost camp.
Ghost camp? What, a bunch of ghosts went camping?
I believe so. I hung out with them a couple times. They're not too scary. They're nice. They're nice.
Larry!
No, there's no ghosts. Of course not.
All right, well, show us the ghost camp. I'd be interested to see that. I'm pretty sure everybody else wants to see it too.
Well, follow me.
Okay, as we're following Larry down to this ghost camp, you can see my car there, way off in the distance. Over here, there's like a, well, it looks like an old mine shaft and a little concrete foundation where the winch or the pulley or whatever you call that thing is that would pull the stuff up out of the mine shaft. So that's another clue as to what they were mining here. Okay, so we've hiked over with Larry to the site where some kind of little mining encampment apparently used to be. You can see there is this kind of like the crumbling stone ruins of some kind of rough cabin. And there's all kind of like metal detritus on the ground, like stuff left over from some bygone mining operation. Larry said he heard this place was active in the 70s. And that's why you see so many of these old 70s pull tab cans laying about. This is an interesting size can though, you know, like I feel like that's kind of tall and skinny to be a beer can. It almost looks like a Red Bull can. I guess maybe beer came in a tall skinny can back then. Interesting. Let's look at this foundation. Oh wait, here's more cans. Cans everywhere, but not a drop to drink. Here's the ruins of this. I mean, these stone ruins look like they're from 1870, not 1970. Wow, I mean, these guys were living rough out here. And then over here, apologies, the sun is right behind it, but looks like there's a mine claim. I wonder if it's still active. This is how people mark their mine claims. I'm not sure legally how it works, but I guess if you stick some sort of post in the ground, that indicates that you have claimed the mineral rights or the mining rights to this land. You don't own the land, you just somehow own the mineral rights. Usually, or sometimes, you'll see like the mine claim paperwork in like a little mayonnaise jar or a can or something. But this thing looks real old. I'm gonna guess this claim is expired. There's no papers here. Oh look, here's a newer can. That looks like it was at least from the 80s or something. Oh, you can even kind of see what it was. Sunkissed. It was a Sunkissed orange drink can. Oh wow, look at the side that was underground. It's not baked away yet. That looks pretty old though. I mean, I would guess that's like 80s. Doesn't that pop top look kind of 80s and old? And the Sunkissed doesn't look like that anymore. Well, I'm going to turn it back down to keep that side nice and bright. Boy, now I'm curious if any of these other buried cans have secrets like that. Look at this one. This is an old one. Oh, this is a pull top, so let's see if there's anything on it. Oh, it's totally covered in dirt. I don't think we're going to be able to see anything. It's too dirty and rusty. Oh, that one was a bust. Oh, wow, look, here's an old bottle. I mean, this looks like a pretty old bottle, doesn't it? I mean, got that fancy stuff on it. Oh, it could just be a root beer bottle, I suppose. No telling. Wow, so that's all that's left of this lonely little ghost camp that Larry discovered. Larry's a man of mystery. You know, still waters run deep. I feel like Larry has more secrets than the entire Mojave Desert. If I hang out with him long enough, I might discover a few answers. Well, that's about all that's left of this lonely little ghost camp, way out here in a lonely, desolate part of a very lonely and desolate desert. It's a pretty cool place if you're into picking through rusty old cans, and if you hiked around in those hills back there, no telling what you'd find. But we don't have time to do too much more poking around because Larry and I are on a 4-day trip exploring a whole bunch of stuff out here in the desert. And Larry has drawn up kind of an itinerary. He's got a bunch of stuff on the list to check out. So we kind of have to keep to a schedule. But I'll be back I'll come back out here when it's not so friggin' hot. Poke around. See what I can find.